Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today's our topic of discussion is drug interactions. Before starting the lecture, I just want to know, what do you think? Is drug interaction beneficial or harmful? This drug interaction can be with anything, with another drug, or any herbal product, or with the food we are taking. So, Assalamu alaikum. I am Nilofer Yusuf Araich, Assistant Professor from Department of Pharmacology, here to demonstrate you today about drug interactions. Our learning objectives of today's lecture are: we will be knowing the definitions of drug interactions, what are various types of drug interactions, what are the various mechanisms through which they are acting, what are high-risk patients which are prone to drug interactions, and how should we handle an interaction, and what are the resources of this lecture, or from what resources this lecture is made. Okay, first of all, what is drug interaction? By hearing this word, what the first thing comes in your mind? Well, it is a situation in which a substance, which is usually another drug, it can be anything, it can be food product, herbal product. So here we are taking it as another drug. Drug interaction is a situation in which a substance, usually another drug, affects the activity of a drug when both are administered together. What are drug interactions? This is modification or alteration of response of one drug by another when administered simultaneously or in quick succession. What happens? There can be two kinds of responses, qualitative or quantitative. We can say qualitative response is increased or response is decreased, but in quantitative we will say that it is deviated from the normal side to abnormal reaction response. So let's define drug interactions. It is an interaction is said to occur when the effects of one drug are changed by the presence of other drug, herb, food, drink. An interaction occurs when pharmacokinetics or pharmacodynamics of drugs are changed. This is a small organogram of drug interactions. At two places drug interactions take place, and that one is outside the body and the other one is inside the body. Outside the body, it may take inside a syringe or in IV fluids when administering IV fluids, and the other is related to pharmacokinetic properties and the pharmacodynamic properties. There are various types of drug interactions: drug-drug interactions, herbal drug interactions, food drug interactions, drink drug interactions, or pharmacogenetic interactions. Mechanisms are according to pharmacokinetics, at what level it is producing its effect. It may be at absorption interactions, distribution level, metabolism level, or excretion interactions. Whereas in pharmacodynamics, there can be synergistic interactions or antagonists. Let's see what these words mean. Here I'll ask you, what are the consequences? Types we currently, so what should be outcomes or consequences of drug interactions? Let's see. We just said that they can be synergistic, so they can give us good response. Okay, 1 + 1 is equal to 3 instead of 2. Let's see some of the good examples of good synergistic interactions: ACE inhibitors with diuretics, These are well recognized interactions and do not pose any undue risk to the patient. Then see what are drug interactions that may lead to risk factors such as polypharmacy. A person is having multiple number of drugs, not a single drug, then multiple prescribers, then multiple pharmacies. Genetic makeup can also be one of the reasons for drug interaction and giving false responses. Specific population like elderly, obese, critical ill patients, specific illnesses in which drug interaction may lead to in any hazardous condition. Narrow therapeutic index drugs such as digoxin, lithium, antidepressants, warfarin I should say. Consequences of drug interactions can be loss of therapeutic effect. We are not getting the effect which we was expecting or for which desired effect we have taken the drug. So after interaction of two or more drugs, the therapeutic effect is lost. It may lead to severe toxicity, unexpected increase in pharmacological activity, or beneficial effects such as additive property, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, or potentiation, that is 1 plus 1 is equal to 11, or antagonism, 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. There can be chemical or physical interactions. The one I gave you example for outside the body interactions, that is IV incompatibility in fluid or syringes mixture. So let's see, these are different sides. Drug interactions take place outside the body and then inside the body, inside the body. For pharmacokinetics, we'll see it's happening in absorption level, distribution level, then metabolism, biotransformation level, and then excretion level. Pharmacodynamics comes after this. So today we are going to discuss the outside body drug interactions and pharmacokinetic interactions. Outside body interactions outside the body, mixing of drugs in the same stage, and these are some of the commonly observed drug interactions outside the body, such as thiopentone and succinylcholine, hydrocortisone inactivates, penicillins if they are given in same syringe. Incompatibilities, there are many incompatibilities seen. Reaction of IV drugs resulting in solutions after mixing that are not longer safe for the patient after stability or structure leading to loss of drug activity. They may lead to formation of precipitates, or they may develop toxic products. So outside the body drug interactions may lead to these consequences. The outcomes may be such as loss of drug activity, formation of precipitates, and development of toxic products. These are some examples. Drug interactions before administration means drug interactions taking place outside our body. Certain drugs react with each other and get inactivated if their solutions are mixed before administration. In combined oral or parenteral formations, the manufacturers can take that such incompatibilities do not take place. In vitro interactions occur when injectable drugs are mixed in the same syringe or infusion bottle. Most commonly observed drug interactions outside the body or before administration are penicillin G or ampicillin mixed with gentamicin or another aminoglycoside antibiotic. Thiopentone sodium is when mixed with succinylcholine or morphine. Heparin mixed with penicillin. Non-adrenaline when added to sodium bicarbonate solution. So in general, it is advisable to avoid mixing of any two or more parenteral drugs before injecting. Coming to the drug interactions inside the body, they are of two types. I am just repeating it again: pharmacokinetic drug interactions and pharmacodynamic drug interactions. Pharmacokinetic drug interactions alter the concentration of the drug at its site of action and consequently the intensity of the response by affecting its ADME. ADME stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion. By reduced rate or completeness of absorption, altered bioavailability, reduced plasma protein binding, altered tissue distribution, altered hepatic metabolism, altered renal excretion. Let's move forward. Then comes pharmacodynamic interactions, and whether they potentiates or antagonizes a target receptor, or there may be potentiation at non-target receptor, or alteration of fluid or electrolyte environment, such as changing the pH type thing, interference with transport mechanisms. Keeping in view the pharmacokinetic drug interactions, let's see what happens. Interaction at the site of absorption. There may be formation of drug chelates or complexes. There may be altered gut flora, altered GIT motility, altered pH, drug-induced mucosal damage, or malabsorption caused by other drugs. Important points are gastric motility, absorption rate, pH, chelation, side effects. Let's see what happens if there is altered pH. Some drugs are absorbed from stomach in acidic media. So when this media becomes neutral or alkaline, this will affect the absorption of drug. Such example of interaction is antacid and ciprofloxacin. When pH of any drug is changed, such as antacids in presence of sulfonamides are anticoagulants in presence of antacids. I have collected some of the diagrams or pictures from internet which I liked very much, so I really wanted to share them with you. So ignore this watermark over here. Certain drugs require an acidic medium for absorption, others require the alkaline medium of the intestine. Any modification in the pH could change this absorption. In case of use of antacids, an increase in pH which can inhibit the absorption of sulfonamides and anticoagulants. So in this case, a gap of 2 or 4 hours between taking the two drugs such as sulfonamides or anticoagulants with antacids is usually sufficient to avoid the interaction. Then comes altered bacterial flora. Bacterial flora has a marked role in metabolization of some drugs. So long-term antibiotics may kill normal flora and affect drug absorption, such as digoxin's absorption is altered by erythromycin. Then there is formation of insoluble complexes such as tetracyclines and quinolones. Activity is absorption is decreased with divalent or trivalent ions, for example calcium, aluminium. So we advise that don't take antibiotic such as tetracycline with milk. Absorption will be decreased. So some of the common chelation examples are antacids and calcium with tetracyclines and fluoroquinolones. The presence of di or trivalent cations can cause the chelation of certain drugs, making them harder to absorb. This interaction frequently occurs between drugs such as tetracycline or the fluoroquinolones and dairy products. When there is altered GIT motility, all of us know that proper absorption time is required if a drug is passing through our GIT tract. ठीक है जी, GI tract से अगर ड्रग गुजर रही है तो उसको एब्जॉर्ब होने के लिए एक टाइम चाहिए. अगर मोटिलिटी ज़्यादा होगी तो इनफ टाइम नहीं मिलेगा एब्जॉर्प्शन को. ये हम वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड दिस थिंग in pharmacokinetics, how absorption, especially factor relating to GIT absorption, matters on drug absorption and its action. So some drugs increase peristalsis and decrease time of absorption, and of other drugs that leads to further absorbed amount of drug. For example, prokinetics क्या करते हैं, इंक्रीज कर देते हैं मोटिलिटी को, जिसकी वजह से दूसरी ड्रग्स को other drugs do not get so much time to get absorbed, and so their therapeutic levels are not reached, which are required which are required for their desirable therapeutic effect. Here comes another example, such as if we are giving laxatives with oral medications. What they do, laxatives increase the speed with which a substance passes through the intestine, so they decrease the total absorption of drugs. Then comes example of atropine with other oral medications. Some drugs, such as the atropine, decreases the speed with which a substance passes through the intestine, so they increase the total absorption of drugs and may further lead to toxicity due to raised plasma levels. Then comes absorption rate. What happens if there is we can see the sorbitol interaction between sorbitol and paracetamol. What they do, together they increase the total absorption of the drug. What are the side effects due to absorption? Such as if we see the interaction between salicylates such as aspirin and diclofenac. Combining these medications may increase your risk of developing gastrointestinal ulcers and bleeding, as both of has the same adverse effects. So you may need a dose adjustment or more frequent monitoring by your doctor to safely use both medications. Then comes distribution. We have discussed absorption. Then let's see how distribution is distribution of two or more drugs collectively affect each other's response. It can be competition with plasma proteins. It can be competition with tissue binding. It may be competition with receptors or non-competitive block. Competition with plasma protein. Transport and distribution interactions related to competition with plasma protein. The main interaction mechanism is competition for plasma protein transport. In these cases, the drug that arrives first binds with the plasma protein, leaving the other drug dissolved in the plasma, which modifies its concentration. Such as salicylates and sulfonamides are competing with methotrexate. Methotrexate is chemotherapy agent, and we know that it is immune system suppressant. The main interaction mechanism is competition for plasma protein transport. In these cases, what happens, the drug with higher binding affinity with the plasma protein binds with the plasma protein and displaces the other drug, which should be actually bound with that plasma protein. What happens, that drug will distribute in circulation, will go in our plasma concentration that may lead to toxicity due to high and undesirable therapeutic levels in plasma concentrations. So we must say that if such thing happens, तो क्या होता है, higher binding affinity with the plasma protein displaces the other drug dissolved in the plasma, which modifies its toxic effect. Then comes distribution at the level of competition with the receptor or without competition to get attached on the receptor. It is how competition, normally it happens like this, मगर जब competition आता है तो one drug will attach to the other. बट नॉन कॉम्पिटिटिव ब्लॉक में क्या होता है कि एक को तो अटैच, मतलब जो ड्रग अटैच होनी चाहिए उसको अटैच होने ही नहीं देना, ना खुद होना है ना उसको होने देना है. So here's an example of competition with receptor atenolol, which is antihypertensive, competing with vasopressor, which is a local anesthetic. Possibly spare prolonged hypertension or cardiac arrhythmia due to epinephrine products. Said any long acting vasopressor के साथ दें, सॉरी यहाँ पे वो नहीं आना था, local anesthetics. We are talking about long-acting vasopressors such as epinephrine, norepinephrine. If we will give administer atenolol with vasopressor, what happens? There will be possible severe prolonged hypertension or cardiac arrhythmias due to epinephrine components. Then there is also a competition with receptor site, that is between ergot alkaloid and epinephrine. What will happen? Severe persistent hypertension or cerebrovascular accidents will take place, such as rupture of cerebral blood vessels. Then comes non-competitive blocks, such these are between epinephrine and MAO inhibitors or antidepressants. What happens if these two drugs interact with them on non-competitive block? On the basis of non-competitive block, there will be possible severe prolonged hypertension or cardiac arrhythmias due to epinephrine component. Antidepressants are, in this slide is only repetition, that's why I have included it. It is the most important classes of antidepressants are the selective serotonin inhibitors, आइस्टिन को कहते हैं हम, फिर ट्राइसाइक्लिक एंटीडिप्रेसेंट्स आ जाते हैं, मोनोअमाइन ऑक्सीडेज इनहिबिटर्स आ जाते हैं. These are drugs used for the treatment of major depressive disorder and other conditions such as anxiety disorders, eating disorders, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, snoring, sleep disorders, migraine, addiction, dependence. There are on the basis of distribution, there are again some other examples I have given over here, such as interaction of antibiotics with cholera vaccine. The use of live attenuated cholera vaccine with systemic antibiotics may result in a diminished immunological response to the vaccine. So antibiotics should not be given with should be given with this vaccine. So some antibiotics may be active against the vaccine strain of Vibrio cholera, thereby preventing a sufficient degree of multiplication to occur in order to induce a protective immune response. If such thing happen, what you should do? Live attenuated cholera vaccine should not be administered during or for at least 14 days after treatment with systemic antibiotics. Then comes interaction between clindamycin and erythromycin. Lincomycin have antagonistic effects. So if we have to, what we should do? Clindamycin or lincomycin should not be used collectively with erythromycin, together with erythromycin. Then there comes interaction between erythromycin and amoxicillin. We know that there is antagonism between these two drugs. So when these drugs are given together, neither has predictable therapeutic efficacy. Summarizing the points we have discussed about distribution interactions, there is an important factor, volume of distribution. So protein binding interactions is the first point, which unbound molecules remain free and pharmacologically active, whereas bound molecules are pharmacologically inactive. Some drugs may compete others for binding to protein depending on affinity and concentration. So in such cases, only drugs with low VD will be effective. For example, warfarin and phenytoin. क्या होगा? warfarin को होना चाहिए 99% bound to plasma proteins. If phenytoin will compete with warfarin for the plasma protein, what happens? Warfarin will distribute in our plasma concentration, and it's as it is low therapeutic margin drug, so safety drug, what will happen? It will lead to toxicity. Then comes metabolism at the level, interactions at the level of metabolism or biotransformation. Most drugs are chemically altered within liver to less toxic and less lipid-soluble metabolites. We know that. Hepatic metabolism has two pathways. One is phase 1 and other one is phase 2. Phase 1 is about modification of the drug, whereas phase 2 is about the conjugation of the drug. Pathways of drug metabolism are phase 1 reactions. In this we have shown that how parent drug enters the body and it is modified in our body, thus leading to excretion, and between administration and excretion it is producing its desired therapeutic effect. See, CYP450, cytochrome 450 or CYP450, most important isoenzymes responsible for liver metabolisms are 3A4, 2D4, 2D6, 2C8. So maximum metabolism is being carried by these three isoenzymes. You can see in this pie chart as well. So types of drug metabolism interactions are further divided into two: enzyme induction and enzyme inhibition. Drugs that inhibit microsomal liver enzymes, they are such as drug inhibitors. The simultaneous administration of drugs that decrease microsomal liver enzyme activity, such as cimetidine, may prolong the half-life and decrease plasma clearance of metronidazole. Whereas drugs that induce microsomal liver enzymes, what are they doing? The simultaneous administration of drugs that induce microsomal liver enzymes, such as phenytoin or phenobarbital, may accelerate the elimination of metronidazole, resulting in reduced plasma levels, impaired clearance, और phenytoin has also been reported. क्या हुआ है? ये बहुत कॉमन बात है जो बार बार रिपीट होती रहती है. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ टू ड्रग्स, एंजाइम इंडक्शन की वजह से क्या होगा? एक ड्रग की जो मेटाबॉलिज्म है वो फास्ट हो जाएगी, जिसकी वजह से वो हमारी बॉडी में उतनी देर स्टे नहीं करेगी और अपना थेराप्यूटिक इफेक्ट नहीं देगी. एंजाइम इंड्यूस होने ये तो हो गया एंजाइम इंडक्शन. एंजाइम इनहिबिशन में क्या हो रहा है कि जो हमें मेटाबॉलिज्म का लेवल चाहिए, रेट चाहिए, वो उस एंजाइम इनहिबिशन की वजह से वो कम हो जाएगा, जिसकी वजह से वो बॉडी में ज़्यादा स्टे करेगी और वो अपने टॉक्सिक इफेक्ट्स दे सकती है. These are some examples of enzyme induction. St. John's wort increased metabolism of cyclosporin by inducing, it should be by over here, inducing cytochrome is isoenzyme 3A4. And then comes the relationship between rifampicin increases metabolism of cyclosporin by inducing CYP3A4. You can see how its metabolism is being changed. Onset of enzyme induction is slower, also slow to solve. We can overcome this problem by increasing the dose. Whereas enzyme induction, it is more commonly seen in comparison to enzyme induction. This interaction decreases drug metabolism and so increases its concentration in serum. It takes 2 to 3 days. This is you can see how enzyme induction is being carried out in our body and how enzyme inhibition is carried out in our body. If serum levels with therapeutic ranges, so it is not clinically important. If we achieve the serum levels which are required for our therapeutic effects, so we can ignore this interaction. But some drugs can be metabolized by more than one of CYP450 isoenzymes, so the reaction may not be clinically important. Here are some examples. See, anticoagulants, coagulants. Interaction with metronidazole has been reported to potentiate the anticoagulant effect of warfarin and other anticoagulants, resulting in prolongation of prothrombin time. Here is a interaction example of interaction between methotrexate and amoxicillin. Amoxicillin increases the blood levels and effects on methotrexate. Increased side effects such as nausea, vomiting, mouth ulcers, and low blood cell counts are seen, which can make you more likely to develop anemia, bleeding problems, and infections. And this is one of the example of inhibition of macrosomal level enzymes. Then comes action between salicylates, which are inhibiting macrosomal level enzymes, with diamol, which is a hypoglycemic drug. What happens? Their collaboration or their collective together administration leads to dangerous hypoglycemia. Now comes drug interactions at the level of excretion. Most drugs are excreted in urine or bile. Some drugs are reabsorbed from renal tubules or enterohepatic circulation. Some drugs are excreted in acidic urine, so changing urine pH will affect the serum level. However, these reactions are rare. So mechanisms related to excretion drug interactions are altered urine pH, change in active tubular secretion, such as some drugs may compete for excretion. It is one of the very important and commonly used example. Probenecid and penicillin compete with each other. And then comes enterohepatic recirculation, and interaction example is penicillins with oral contraceptives. Here is example of interaction between indomethacin and diuretic or diuretic at the level of excretion. Indomethacin causes elevation of serum creatinine, and diuretic prevents reabsorption of sodium. The result of combination leads to very severe side effect, which is acute renal failure. We have discussed everything about pharmacokinetics at the level of absorption, at the level of biotransformation, at the level of bioavailability, at the level of metabolism and excretion. इस सारी कहानी से एक तो हमें पता चलेगा कि how we have to prescribe drugs, and how it can be beneficial for us, how this study or this lecture can further help us. So let's see. This principle is utilized for facilitating elimination of the drug in poisoning. For example, urine is alkalinized in barbiturates and salicylate poisoning, and it is very important question, what is ion trapping in general pharmacology, not for this. And if a patient comes, or a small kid, a small boy or kid, student or whatever, small मतलब के बच्चा आए with aspirin injection, तो आप क्या करेंगे? तो what you will do, you will alkaline the urine for excretion. ठीक है जी? So urine is alkalized in barbiturate and salicylate poisoning. The elimination of weak bases such as morphine, amphetamine can be enhanced by acidifying urine. So it is vice versa. This is not practiced clinically because acidosis can induce rhabdomyolysis, cardiotoxicity, and actually worsen outcome. Theoretically, this example can be used. The effect of changes in urine pH on drug excretion is more for those having pK values between 5 to 8, because only in their case pH dependent passive reabsorption is significant. So as we know that pK is a value pH at which 50% of drug is ionized. ठीक है जी? So this was our today's lecture, and it's time for assignment now. You people have to define drug interactions, pharmacokinetic drug interactions, and at what various levels these drug interactions take place with an example of each. ठीक है जी, thank you so much. If there are any questions, so just let me know. You may ask those questions in WhatsApp group or personally too from me. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.